This Racing Life with Albasti Equiworld, the leading supplier of horse feeds and supplements.
Welcome to Newmarket and the stunning July course, home to the town's flagship summer festival. And it's on days like this you'll find few places looking quite as resplendent. Here's what's coming up on This Racing Life. Last year's July Cup winning trainer Jane Chapple-Hyam reveals who could be her next group winning star.
You've got to believe in your horses, and she can quicken twice, and it's very important in the last 2 furlongs, especially the last furlong, and I think she's got the profile to do that.
We go inside the mind of classic winning jockey Silvestre de Sousa.
I roll the race, it suits me. I didn't care about pacemaking, but I knew Frank will be behind me and he'll come after me.
And see how the apprentice jockeys of today are coached to be the champions of the future. We visit a trainer going from strength to strength in William Knight. And we also hear from Newmarket's newest handler on trying to get going in challenging circumstances.
Her landing on me fractured my pelvis, and I had an operation to put 2 screws through the back of me here 10 days later, and I was very much bedbound in those 10 days.
But first, few could deny that Silvestre de Sousa has been hugely successful since leaving his native Brazil to explore a riding career in Europe. There have been ups and downs along the way, but with the 3-time champion jockey landing the UAE crown over the winter, and with plenty of success at Royal Ascot for key supporter Roger Varian, the good times have certainly been flowing. With that in mind, we caught up with the Brazilian maestro to see what makes him tick. I think your story is fascinating, I have to say, because you grew up in Brazil and you didn't really ride a racehorse as we know it until you were in your late teens.
Yes, but I've been grown up on a farm riding horses, and my dad used to have a couple of Corsa horses, so was all relating to just adapt from a Corsa horse to a thoroughbred later on, from the young age, from early teenage and to be a grown up, to be a jockey, and but riding horse all my life, trying to understand them all my life that's what I like to,
And the chance did come because you went to the north of England, which I imagine very different weather from Brazil.
Absolutely, yes. So I thought my chances in Ireland would be very little. I have a friend who used to work for Dundee Nichols, and he introduced me in Dundee Nichols. He was at the Curragh, and I met him. He'd say, "Oh, I'll give you a job in England." And I came over, and he'd say, "Oh, stay with me, and I'll try to get you licensed out, and I'll put you up in field horse and see how you get on."
So when Mark Johnston came along and said, "We want to get you on board," you must have been thrilled, because at the time he was a big trainer.
Yeah, it was, yeah. And that time my agent was Gary Owen. He used to look after Martin Dwyer as well. And I rolled a horse for him at Sodal. I won on the horse for him. And he told me he was going to use me more often. And he spoke to my agent, and I passed the news. And since that day, I was always riding for him.
And was he a good boss?
Brilliant. I couldn't speak high enough of the man.
And it didn't take long before you were starting to make inroads into the champion jockey title. But Mark sent you off to Australia, didn't he, to the Melbourne Cup?
Yes.
How did that feel?
I was one to go because I knew the horse very well, a horse called Fox Hunted. And but at the same time, I was riding a lot of winning in a different country, and I felt a bit green. But Mark has so much confidence in me. He said, "No, I want you to ride." And I didn't hesitate. He's the man put me on the map. I went over, but I wish I have gone with the experience I have now. It will be a different race, The horse would have had probably won or run a better race than what he did.
Do you think in hindsight, if you hadn't gone to Melbourne, then you would have won the champion jockey title?
Maybe, but maybe not. was no regrets. If I'm in that position, I'd go to ride in the Melbourne Cup again.
Let's move on to Godolphin, because you were a retained rider for them. Was it at the time when you got offered the job? I imagine it must have been an amazing thing for you to be able to get a job of that calibre, because am I right in thinking it wasn't just Godolphin who were interested, it was also Shadwell?
Yeah, it was at that point. I just come off the plane and Simon Christoph asked me in the time if I would interest to go to Dubai, you know, to get a couple of spare rides, and I accept. And probably if I haven't gone to Melbourne, I wouldn't get the job, you know.
So it did work out well.
It did work out well, yeah.
And obviously Godolphin have that amazing pedigree, some wonderful horses over the years. So did you think, I've really made it?
I wasn't a point I want to be, but at the same time you have to prove to be in that position. You have to deliver winners, you know. So I signed a contract with them for 2 years. I was there for 2 years, and 2 years went by and I signed up for another year.
And once that stint was over, I suppose there was unfinished business as regards the champion jockey title, and you thought, right now, I'm really going to focus on that.
Yes, and obviously when, after my 3 years finish out there, because thought the way you'd say, you know, I'd say now is the time to give a go and see if I can win the title.
Did you always believe that you could?
No.
Some good jockeys around, weren't there, at the time?
Yeah, it was. I never thought I would be, but I was willing to put the work into, you know, and that time, and I just had picked up a new agent, like, you know, Shelley Dwyer. She never been an agent, and my other agent should say, "Oh, I'm gonna retire," and I said, "Oh, they all come in one go, you know. You lose the job and you lose the agent." So, and I'm a good friend of Shell and Chris Dwyer, so we like families. And when I won my first title, I rode for 57 individual training in the country.
Amazing support, and to be fair, with a new agent, she did pretty well.
She did, yeah, and I had winner for all of them.
Do you ever feel that you're a little bit underrated as a rider?
I don't know, maybe. It's all depend how you rate me, but yeah, well, I think I get the success I'm working for.
I wanted to mention as well, Arabian Queen was around that time, wasn't she?
Yes.
When she beat Golden Horn in the Jobmont International. Just in terms of the general success that you've had over the years, how would she rank? Because of course Golden Horn went into that race as the really hot favourite and was the star of his generation.
I rolled the race to beat him. Myself and Mr. Ellsworth had a plan, and I told him that day, let's try to drag the field back and let's see if she could sprint her home, you know. And I rolled the race, it suits me. I didn't care about pacemaking. I still have plenty horse underneath, and I said, okay, ride with a feeling. When they come in, you go before they come into you. And that's what I did. And I just sit back and tight on the reins, and I said, okay, they think I'm empty, but I'm not empty. But she digs very deep, and she was a really fighter that day. I don't think it doesn't matter what I would do that day, she would get beat.
So what made the decision then to go to Hong Kong eventually?
And because King Power decided not have any more retaining jockeys, and he had a lot of horses spread out, and they're going to cut down the numbers as they did. And that's how I ended up sending my application to Hong Kong for a year to try it.
And obviously you had some good success there, you made plenty of prize money, and then there was that thing, and you had to overcome some adversity with what happened.
Yeah.
You've done that a few times in your life with coming through different things and improving on that. How did you find overcoming what happened in Hong Kong?
And I find it difficult, you know, it just felt like he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. But they make their own rules, and they have their own rules, so, you know. But it's difficult when you love to ride and things just hate you, and, you know, you're just like lost, you don't know what to do.
And since you've come back, it really has been from strength to strength you've been going. Sharon and other big successes, My Cloud recently at Royal Ascot, El Malka winning the Guineas, so it's all been happening really positively for you. I suppose a lot of that must be down to Roger Varian.
Absolutely, yeah, and you know, when I come back and I phone him up, Roger, and I just ask him, you know, to accept me to come and ride out and just to get the pace back again in my, just get the clock back, just ride some nice horses and hoping to, just build on, in my mind, what I want,
How much of a dream of yours was it to win a classic in this country?
It was ambition, and I had few rides, but was never good enough to win. And when you're riding and outside, and and she just come on top of them, was really special. Was really special. As you see, like, I was so happy and I couldn't believe.
You were crowned UAE champion jockey, weren't you, in recent months? That must have been a lovely accolade to achieve.
Yeah, it was quite good. Like, I felt I felt proud of myself, to be honest. And I rolled, I think, 54 winners. Yeah, it was. And I have Carnival winners. It's very hard to get a Carnival winners, especially if you ride in as a local jockey, for a small string.
What would your advice be to any apprentice jockeys coming through the ranks?
And working hard, and at the same time you have to working hard, but you have to look where the results will come from. It's not a point only to work with your hands, and if your mind is not there. So you have to working hard with a combination to look forward with ambitions. You need to have ambition to get to anywhere.
Sage words indeed from Silvestre, but since 2011, apprentice and conditional riders haven't just had to rely on their weighing room colleagues for a bit of advice, with every novice rider now getting a professional jockey coach to help them learn their trade. So, how do you teach a jockey? Come with me and find out. So Michael, you've got Aaron here on the horse simulator, who's going for his licence in a few weeks' time. If you could just talk us through the process that you would do with him.
So Aaron did his pre-licence about 2 weeks ago, and obviously passed, and he's got it next week. Basically, I get his set up. We practice using the whip. He sits up like he's going down to the start, and then he pushes out for 30 seconds, and he does it 3 times. And just to get his rhythm and to get him to learn how to push and to use the whip properly.
Okay, should we have a little look?
Okay, you ready, Aaron? Yeah. Okay, push. Okay, backhander. Left hand. Backhander. Okay, rest. Well done, Aaron. We should have, because we have these new whip rules now, so what I'm trying to teach Aaron from the word go is that only 2, if possible, before the furlong. Okay. And then you have 4 left. And within that 4, that's where the money is. Mm-hmm. So then if you go the 2 before, a build up, and once he strikes the horse, then it goes straight back to the reins. Yeah. Because that slows you down. If you go 3 or 4 before the furlong marker,
you've run out basically.
You've only got 2 left.
Yeah.
And it's quite hard to hit a horse 4 times in the furlong, under our new rules. Mm-hmm. So then that will always keep him to below 6. Hopefully only 5. He has to go to full 6. He goes to full 6. But I've taught Aaron from the word go. It's 2 for the build up, and then it's 4 for the finish.
Okay. So from what we just saw with Aaron there, is that what you were looking for?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But he can use both hands. Obviously, when he first started, he's right-handed, so we worked hard on the left. Now you wouldn't know which hand. He's probably actually.
I wouldn't have known.
He's better with his left because he's worked on it.
Yeah.
He has his more right hand, his natural hand. He's worked hard on his left, and he actually uses it better. But we got right-handed tracks, left-handed tracks. You must be able to learn. You must be able to use the whip in both hands. I'm hoping that when Aaron has his first few rides, he won't look like he's having his first few rides.
As well as simulator work, another key tool in jockey coaching is video analysis.
But this is the bit I'm really liking. See them quick on the outside and you're not rushing. You're going through the gears. Steadily away, holding your ground. He's helping you because he's going well enough. but you haven't suddenly gone down pushing flat out.
Yeah, exactly.
You've let him come underneath you, haven't
Building it and building it up the
Yeah.
whole way.
you? This is where I'd like slightly just to change your hands a little bit more, be a bit more animated. But if you're looking here in the closing stages, he's coming underneath you a bit. But I think the fact that you didn't go from travelling to suddenly
Yeah, exactly.
pelt
Building
straight
it
away,
and building it up.
you saved a
That's the
bit,
key
and that
thing,
helped you
yeah.
get to the line.
Yeah.
But just going back a touch is where I was referring to it. You can see a few of the jockeys I think I saw here was changing their hands, and your hands are moving side to side, okay? But as we'll just work on the simulator in a second, I'd just like you just to be a bit more animated,
Okay.
breathing good,
Yeah.
changing your hands, keeping it a bit tight in the mouth,
Yeah.
and with that, it'll help you for the last furlong,
Yeah, exactly.
as opposed to just monotonously pushing.
Carl McHugh doing the steering aboard the winner, Renesmee.
In these hands and heels races as that Renesmee's race was, that's the only tool you've got is to change your hands.
And how do you like him to change his hands? Because you've got a specific way, don't you?
Yes, I like them to be animated, hands out, and it works more for my way of changing the reins. The way I like is when you're using a whip, but nevertheless, when you're going through the gears and it's just a hands and heels race, the bare minimum you can do is getting down behind them, hands out, so the horses can see your hands when you're changing your reins.
Okay. Now turn the clock back to this time last year, and the sun was certainly shining on multiple group-winning sprinter Millstream, who landed the July Cup in the famous silks of Peter Harris and was trained just up the road by Jane Chapple-Hyam.
We always thought very highly of him. We at one point thought we could try and see if he'd be a Guineas horse, but we knew we had the speed.
Okay. Because Black Caviar was in this box.
Yeah, Lucky Box, Black Caviar's been in here, Masseur's been in here, and I don't know if Salamanca will get to their heights, but maybe next year he might, you know, pick up a group race, hopefully.
Yeah, because he's looked exciting so far. So.
Yeah. He's just had a little setback, but we're looking forward to getting him on the track perhaps the end of the season.
And it must have been so satisfying for you to get the Group 1 for Peter Harris, who of course has that long-standing relationship with you.
Yeah, no, it was very nice, and he's been very supportive here in Abingdon Place, and he comes up most Saturday mornings to see the horses cantering or galloping, so it's really good that he supports us.
Does he leave it to you in the main about where to go?
Yeah, no, he's really good. Yeah, no, we always have a chat all the time, and he's always an email away, so it's good in that sense. He's a very busy man, even though he's retired, but he's still very busy.
Heading into last year's July Cup, how much confidence did you have that Millstream was going to be good enough to win?
I think I felt that he had a really good chance in the Jubilee, and we finished third. So I knew going on, you know, your home track that he would be fine. We sent him there for a gallop. You're allowed to use the track if you've got an entry. And he's never by any means, he was a 2-length or go clear in his gallops. But he did enough that we walked off there and said, yeah, he's come out of the Royal Ascot run really good. So in that sense, we went there very hopeful.
And I think that stiff finish that Newmarket July course has, he quite liked that, I thought.
Yeah, no, he loved it. He was good.
Understandable that he's gone off to stud now.
Yes. I think behind that was he had done enough. He'd won his Group 1, and the offer was there for a nice stud farm, Yeomanstown. So it was the right thing to do. He's had, you know, a full book of mares, and it's going to be exciting. I even sent a mare to him, so you always look forward to train the good ones' progeny.
You've had Saffron Beach, you've had Millstream. Do you think this year she could be the Group 1 horse?
I wouldn't say no. You've got to believe in your horses, and she can quicken twice, and it's very important in the last 2 furlongs, especially the last furlong, and I think she's got the profile to do that. And we're happy with the way she's developed, and as you can see, she's a good-looking filly. She's powerful. She's got everything. So, yep. Let's hope we get one of the big ones.
So you've been training now for 20 years. And
is it that long?
Yeah. Sorry to bring it up. But you must feel as though you've really gone from strength to strength and now really hitting those heights.
Yeah, it was very hard to start off in the beginning, but I think it's helped being here at Abingdon Place now since 2009. So that's been important to have foundations, isn't it? You don't really want to be swapping from yard to yard. And
it is a lovely yard as well.
Yeah, it's steeped in history. As you can see, the horses are happy, and yeah, we just got to keep going, don't we? And hopefully find group horses every year. That's the target.
Now from one Group 1 winning sprinter to a filly who came agonisingly close to becoming one herself at Royal Ascot, Frost at Dawn is set for some big targets between now and the end of the year and could well continue the upward trajectory of her trainer, William Knight.
But the important thing now is just to keep it going. We've got a good setup here, good team, but yeah, very conscious that we don't look back, got to keep going forward and hopefully build it and keep the momentum going.
And momentum is also helped by having a flagship horse or horses, and you've certainly got one of those at the moment in the filly Frost at Dawn, who's going from strength to strength.
Yeah, absolutely. She's been a star this year on the track, and when she sort of won in Maidan as a 3-year-old. But I really feel this year she's had a winter off. She's sort of hit the top gears there this year, and I think her run at Ascot just shows sort of the faith we've got in her and what she can do on the track.
I've ridden her out every day for nearly 2 years, and I've been very, very lucky to do 2 trips to Dubai with her and a month in America at the Breeders' Cup. So yeah, I think we're a good partnership now.
What's it like having the globe-trotting lifestyle?
It's great, I have to be honest. It is really great. No, she's very special to me now. She's given me some brilliant opportunities, seen some great things. Getting the opportunity to go learn to track ride in America and over in Dubai and meet some great people. And she's run some great races over in those 2 places as well. So yeah, very lucky.
And it must give you a huge amount of delight to see her improving in the way that she has.
Definitely, yeah. Like over the past 2 years, I've seen her grow up so much. She's matured, like physically she's grown and just chunked out and become a proper sprinter. And like, yeah, when she won on Super Saturday in Dubai last year, it was brilliant. And even this year when she ran at Ascot a couple of weeks ago, like she ran such a big race and it was a bit heartbreaking. She just missed the win, but God, it was a very good run. You must have thought at one stage she was going to win.
I did. It was that emotion straight after. It was, I won't tell you what I said, but it was, I just, I was probably annoyed that we didn't. You don't get many opportunities to win Group 1s, and we haven't won a Group 1 yet. So it was one which is gone begging. But look, fantastic for Jim Goldie, and it was great that he won. But I'd rather it was us.
No, I can imagine. And she came into that race off the back of a listed success as well. So clearly you can see that she is starting to improve.
Yeah, and I think it was probably that listed race at Haydock where she won, and she just was on fumes right at the end there. She just held on, and that really confirmed to me that, look, we just got to stick at 5 furlongs now.
And it's good that you've sort of focused on that 5 furlong trip, because the programme for the rest of the season is a very good one.
Absolutely, and I think we've sort of had gone up to 6 and dropped back to 5, but I really think the application advisors have just made a concentrate, and just the run style, just simplifying it, I think has just helped. So we know, as you say, we know where we are. It's a pretty straightforward programme over 5 furlongs now from here to the end of the year. So we'll head King George, Nunthorpe. She'll get a Prix de l'Abbaye entry, dependent on ground, obviously, and then hopefully end up at Del Mar again, but in the 5 furlong sprint. She ran over 7 last year because she didn't get invited for the 5 furlong sprint, and we were there. And because we didn't know till we were out there, we sort of felt then, let's run her anyway, and we ran her on the dirt, which is totally the wrong thing to probably have done, and she missed the break, and anyway, it was a disaster, the whole thing. But yes, we will only run that out there this year if we get into the 5 furlong sprint, which I think she should hopefully should get into, and I think that fast 5 round there will really suit her.
You've gone mighty close to winning Group 1s in the past, most recently of course the Frost at Dawn, with plenty of others beforehand. If she does get that big win on the board in, say, France or in America or even at York, what would it mean to you, do you think?
A lot. I think yeah, we've won Group 2s, Group 3s, listed races. You know, I've been training, 18, 19 years now, and I haven't won a Group 1, and that does grind at me sometimes. So yeah, I really feel I've got the horse to do it with this year. So hopefully a bit of luck on our side, we might get it done.
Now, we all know racing is full of challenges, but imagine your boss was upping sticks and moving country, and then you break your pelvis after deciding to stay here and become a trainer yourself. Well, that's the reality facing the latest resident of Hamilton Road, young trainer Hayley Burton. What pushed you on to finally get that licence in your name?
I think spending 17 years in Newmarket, I left school, went to the racing school and got a job in town, and been here ever since. And it was always an idea to learn as many aspects of the sport as possible. I'm very much a horse person, so it was always the love of horses that have kept me going.
And you've got quite the pedigree in the game, being a student of the Luca Cumani way of life, haven't you?
Yeah, Luca was very good to me. The idea was that I would learn the ropes from Mr. Cumani and go back to the family farm and progress what their hobby was into more of a business. But unfortunately my mum fell ill with cancer, and she passed away having spent maybe 6 months at Luca's. So yeah, I suppose that's what sort of really ingrained me staying in Newmarket and learning what I could here.
How did you get from Luca's to Amy Murphy's, where you eventually ended up?
Joined a friend who was pregnant with triplets, training point-to-point horses, so I took over or assisted her while she was pregnant, and after that I was looking for a new job, and Amy herself was just promoted to assistant trainer to Luca, and she rang me up and said, "Oh, I'm looking for a pupil myself, would you be interested?" So just the right time for me to sort of finish the point-to-point season and assist Amy.
Was that quite a surprise to see her go off to France?
No, it was always spoken about, and if she had done it a couple of years earlier, I probably would have gone with her. But I'd got involved in a filly with Silvestre de Sousa actually at the similar time of me starting for Amy, and she sold very well at Arcana Sales. I had a bit of spare cash to decide that I want to keep this investment into horses, and got a couple of my own from the Somerville sales 2 years ago, and they're with me here today. So yeah, that sort of kept me going in that direction rather than joining Amy in France. But yeah, it was always an aim for her since I've been here anyway.
And how was it starting out your training career with a broken pelvis? I mean, that can't have been particularly helpful.
Very challenging, and obviously not planned. I was riding out for Silvestre de Sousa, and we were literally out the back here, 20 yards from coming home, and she was known to be a little bit tricky, and yeah, she got upset about a situation and reared up quite vigorously on the road and slipped back onto the road whilst I was still underneath. So yeah, her landing on me fractured my pelvis, and I had an operation to put 2 screws through the back of me here 10 days later, and I was very much bedbound those 10 days, and was very scared to twist and turn too much because there was a lot of clinking and clonking going on. So but as soon as they put those screws in me, I was good to be on my feet.
And I'm sure you're not far away from getting that first winner on the board. What would that mean to Hayley Burton Racing?
It would be everything. It'd be what I've left sort of school for and lost family for, so yeah, it would mean a lot.
Huge thanks to Hayley and everyone we have visited this week. As the summer hots up here in Newmarket, so does the action on Racing TV. That's all we've got time for. Join us next week for another edition of This Racing Life.
This Racing Life with Albasti Equiworld, the leading supplier of horse feeds and supplements.